Good morning, pre-algebra, and welcome to lesson 3.3, writing algebraic expressions to represent real-world situations. Basically, this lesson takes what we learned in the first two lessons and puts them to a practical problem-solving use. We will be having a quiz, therefore, on all three lessons at the conclusion of this one, since this unit only has 3 lessons in its entirety. So beginning on page 84, try it 12. Try it 12 says, Peter is 3 inches taller than Sue. That's a given. Letter A says, suppose the height of Sue is S feet. So we don't know Sue's height. What is the height of Peter in terms of S feet? This step tells us how to put things in a setup so we can go about solving a problem of any question related to this setup. So the things we know, Peter is 3 inches taller than Sue, and Sue's height is S feet. So putting Peter's height then in terms of S feet, Sue's height would be her height, S feet, plus 3 inches. At this point, we have 2 competing quantities of measurement, feet and inches. So we're going to convert the inches into terms of feet. And that's simply because we do not measure height in total inches. We measure it in feet and inches, which ends up being a fraction because 3 inches is 3 out of 12. 3 inches out of 12 inches because there's 12 inches in a foot reduced to 1/4 of a foot. So, therefore, Sue's height, S feet, plus Peter's height, 1/4 feet, is putting the height of Peter in terms of Sue's height. So it's S plus 1/4 foot. So going on, letter B says, given that Peter's height is P feet, now we assign a value to Peter's height. Write a formula connecting S and P. So we go through all these steps to get to the main event, which is the formula. So Peter's height, which is P, equals S plus 1/4. And that's all they have us do in Try It 12. They just want us to read a situation, knock down what we have, get it in like measurement terms if we need to, and then put it in a formula where we replace Peter's height, the words, with the letter P. Okay. Going on to example 13, I will turn the page. Moving to the try it part. There we go. It says, in a summer camp, the number of girls is 7 less than 2/3 of the number of boys. Okay, so we're going to go from this and get it down to a formula connecting the numbers together. So first of all, we're going to have boys. It says in A, suppose the number of boys in the camp is B. So they give it that, so we'll take it. Boys equal B. Express the number of girls in terms of B. Well, we go back to the sentence. The number of girls is 7 less. So that's going to be a subtract than 2/3 of the boys. So we got to start with 2/3 of the boys so we can subtract 7 from it. So 2/3 of the number of boys, remember of means multiply, so it's 2/3 B. Remember, in algebra you don't need that multiplication sign, it's just 2/3 B. So that's the number we start with. Therefore, the number of girls is 2/3 B minus 7. So that's one component. Now it says if the number of girls in the camp is G, so they give us a letter for this number of girls, make a formula. So now at this point, I just, instead of saying number of girls, I just say G equals 2/3 b minus 7. And that's all they want us to do. They don't want us to solve it any further. They just are taking us through the steps to set up a situation. They take us through the thinking so that when you have a story problem with this, plus an additional information, you start off with this, you work through these steps to get to a final formula. And then it's just a matter of plugging in numbers with the whatever comes after those directions. Okay, now let's go to example 14. Now this is where we will actually be solving the problem in some form or another. So example 14, try it 14 actually on page 86, is Victor's age is 7 years more than 1/6 of his father's age this year, and Victor's mother is 4 years less than 3 times as old as Victor. Find V, F, and M years, or let V, F, and M years be present ages of Victor, his father, and his mother, respectively. Okay, so basically they give us what Victor, mother, and father, they just give us their letters, V, M, and F. And this is where they are right now. So now it goes right to the direction, letter A, express V and M each in terms of F. So we're going to do this twice, once for V and once for M. But we're going to do it with this situation. So first of all, Victor. If we go back to the sentence, it says he's 7 years more, which is adding, than 1/6 of his father's age this year. So again, 1/6 of 1/6 times, and we got to find, we're going to add 7 years to 1/6 of his father's age. So 1/6 of the father's age plus 7 more equals Victor's age. Now, I did not write all of this down. I just thought it out and put it down. Now, if you need to write this down to get to this point, please do, because if you mess up here, your final answer eventually is not going to work. Now, they not only wanted us to write Victor's age in terms of F, they want us to write his mother's age in terms of F too. So moving on, I have that answer, but let's go back in the problem, because that's where you got to find the information. It says Victor's mother is 4 years less than 3 times as old as Victor. So 4 years less is, I'm going to subtract it 4 years at the end, but I got to go 3 times as old as Victor. So she's 3 times, and I got to take Victor's quantity, 3 times Victor's age, which right now is 1/6 of the father plus 7, and I keep it in parentheses because I have to have it 3 times this exact quantity, and then I subtract 4 years. Okay, so there's my setup. So sometimes in a problem, you got to find the simple setup because the second one uses that for its setup. Be very careful of those things. This is the part you spend the most thinking on. Because part B, it's just a matter of plugging in a number and figuring it out and doing the math. So part B says, if Victor's father is 48 years old now, how old are Victor and his mother? So basically, I'm going to plug 48 into this spot, and then I'll figure it out. In fact, I'll do it exactly as written, but then at the end I need to explain one more thing. So substitute 48 into each formula. So first of all, Victor, take 1/6 F, which is 48 plus 7. So 1/6 of 48 is 48, 6 plus 7. 48 divided by 6 is 8 plus 7, 15. Victor is 15 years old. So now I do the same thing for his mother, a little different. So I use that. I substitute 48 into F's position. I do what's on the inside. So I do the exact same thing that I did solving for Victor's age right here and get down to 15. Now at this point, and this is what I wanted to say, if I already know that this part right here is 15, because I already did it in the first part of this problem, I could go right to here and set it up. 3 times 15 minus 4. Algebraically, to prove your answer, you would have to just repeat all the steps. Practically, I could do this. So for now, repeat the steps, and hopefully by repeating them, you end up exactly with what you ended up in the first part. Anyway, 3 times 15 is 45 minus 4 is 41. So Victor's mom's age is 41 years old. So that is our lesson today. We have in the exercise a total, a total of 20 such situations. So we're going to break this up into 3 days. So today we're going to do basic practice, numbers 1 through 6 on pages 86 and 87. Okay, thank you, and do good math.